So here's one of our first responder. Students. My name is Mark Whitlock, and I was a student here at Noonan High School in the early 1970s, graduated in 1975. I'm the CEO at Central Educational Center, which is a part of Noonan High School, though I've never worked in this building.
Why did you come back to Noonan High School?
I came back to Noonan High School. I came back to the school system to help lead Central Educational Center when it started up 14 years ago.
Have you worked with people that used to be your teachers?
I have indeed. In fact, every once in a while I get an opportunity to work with people like Ms. Barbara Landreth, who was my teacher, my English teacher in the 11th grade here at Noonan High School.
What was that like?
She is outstanding, and she was outstanding. And I credit her and Mr. Richard Smith, who retired a few years ago from Noonan High School, would credit them with the fact that I was able to exempt composition class at university. I went to the University of Georgia and tested out, never had to take a composition class at the university level, and was later a writer and doing analysis for Bank of America, among other writing that I've done.
What was the most challenging aspect of your job?
The most challenging aspect of my job is the working to create the new sort of technical education that we call College and Career Academy, and that means we create a partnership between the school system, all our high schools, our regional technical college, West Georgia Technical College, and the local business community. That's something that hasn't been done until Coweta County school system invented that. So that hadn't been done before. Now there are 29 other communities across Georgia that are working to copy that.
What part of the job did you enjoy the most?
What I enjoy the most, the opportunity to see people like you find your career interest and get opportunities to meet and work with local businesses, particularly in internships and apprenticeships. Yeah.
What is the relationship between Noonan High School and the community?
It's a very good one, and it has been for many, many years. Noonan High School is one of the real assets that you'll hear about when people talk about the city of Noonan and Coweta County. They'll talk about Noonan High as a place that is important to economic development. It's important to businesses that locate here that Noonan High do a good job, because students become ultimately the workforce. Their success determines the success of companies, and the success of companies really determines how successful we are economically as a community.
And how important is that relationship?
It's critical. We get a chance to meet with companies who want to locate here, and we get a chance to talk with companies who want to expand here. It's generally true that the first thing they ask about is the educational system. They want to know that people are well prepared for not 20th century jobs, but 21st century jobs. So they're asking about whether young people are ready to go into hospitals and go to work, or companies and handle robotic manufacturing. They're asking about things like that, very specifically.
In your opinion, what has always made NHS a special place to attend school?
Yeah, I think Noonan High School is really, really special because it has always focused on the needs of this community. It's always stayed really, really close to all its stakeholders, whether that be students or parents or local city government or business leaders. The relationship that Noonan High has kept with its stakeholders, I think, is critical to the success of this community. Noonan High, in other words, Noonan High has never separated itself from the community. It's always been a part of it.
What are the biggest changes you have seen from the time you were a student until now?
Yeah. Can I tell you the biggest change I've seen that shocked me when I came back to this community 20 years ago, and I walked into Noonan High School, and it was air conditioned. And I couldn't believe it, because we never had that when I went to school. And I'm not sure you guys could imagine what that was like. But it was fine. We had big fans, the windows were open, and we had a great time at Noonan High School. But that's the biggest single change that I can think of. It really shocked me when I saw that. And that's being really honest with you.
Do you recall any historical events occurring that you heard about while in school, like the JFK assassination, 9/11, or Oklahoma City?
Yeah, we lived history when I was at Noonan High School, but we were the generation that desegregated schools. So while I was a student at Noonan High School, there were protest marches that went on around the school. I can remember a period of about 2 weeks when many of my friends left classes and marched around this block, this approximately 1 mile block around Noonan High School for 2 weeks to work on issues that ultimately led to better inclusiveness for students. It led to better diversity among our administrators, and it really changed things. That was during the Civil Rights era, and yeah, I remember that very well. We lived it at Noonan High School. It wasn't something that we heard about. We also were a part of a generation that was ending the Vietnam War, and that was a war that really divided our country, and we were the end of the generation that was a part of that. So heard a lot about that, and always wondered when you entered Noonan High School in that era whether one day you were going to be fighting in Vietnam.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing this
Thank you.
interview.
You're very welcome.